Today, I want to talk about coping with learning that you're disabled. Goal, paper, how to deal with something. And right now, I'm going through a massive transition. And it's real and it's raw. And it's been a really unpleasant transition, too, in many ways. So, I figure I might as well put it out there because when this started happening to me, I couldn't find a lot. And the people that I did find were desperate and angry, just like I am. And then that wasn't helping because all we do is commiserate. And I'd be on Twitter just unleashing the hounds, every politician, every whatever. Ombudsman, I call them all fluffers. Uh, and I actually believe some of them are still, but whatever. Um, so yeah, I figure I'll share what I'm going through, and hopefully it's a happy ending, and hopefully you'll get a happy ending too. So in my case, I got a concussion, and everybody said that I should go back to normal, and I didn't. I went back to work though, and tried to keep up, and couldn't, and it wasn't good. And then on top of that, so already I'm worried because I don't feel well. Not even worried, I just don't feel well. So that was already bad enough. And then I was doing rehab and going to work at the same time, and I think that almost killed me. But I learned a lot in physio, actually, about my vestibular disability. Now, that's what I want to stress. When you become any kind of disability, the best thing you can do is arm yourself with knowledge about it. Because before anybody said to me, Daniela, you lost 36% of your balance on your right side, I only knew that I was wobbly. And it didn't make any sense to me. And I didn't know how I wobbled. I didn't know about my balance system. I didn't know how to trigger it. I didn't know how to avoid it. So I was constantly in a state of being a victim to this plague of a disability. And then all of a sudden, I was sent to a physiotherapist who specialized in my disability. And the first thing he did was teach me all about it, how I'm triggering my wobbles, how I can stop. So before I would lose my balance and I'd hit the floor, where he taught me a stance that could help avoid me falling almost, I'd say like 90% of the time. It's still a dramatic wobble or whatever, and it's pretty embarrassing if it's out in public, but at least I don't hit the floor as often as I did before. Um, One day, somebody actually rammed into me with a shopping cart and sent my cane flying, and that should have knocked me to the ground. And I was so well practiced in his emergency stance, things that he taught me that I was totally able to keep myself from falling. So that has helped me a lot. And I'll tell you how knowing these little tricks and tips that whatever professional in your disability can teach you, the kind of stress it takes off you. So, for example, little things like when I used to ride an elevator, I used to cry every time. I felt sick in an elevator. I wobbled and I really lost my balance a lot, and then that made me even sicker. I was having some claustrophobia thing in the beginning. When people were on the elevator, I got anxious. Um, it was just not cool. And then every time I step off an elevator, I lose my balance, and it's usually can be pretty dramatic. So, and in the beginning, I didn't have my cane either. So I was really, by myself in this really big wobbly universe, and it wasn't a good feeling, and it was tears every time. Now riding an elevator is one of my favorite things to do. See, it goes from one extreme to another. So for me now, elevator rides are fun because I know how to stand or lean depending on how I'm feeling, and it's like a roller coaster ride. I don't have to pay, $30 to get into Disney World because I just have to get into my elevator. And it's literally that dramatic, for me to be in an elevator. But I ride it out now. Where before, if I was walking on the street and I saw somebody with a cane coming, or I knew a big bus or truck was going to pass by me close because I don't know what the word is, the drag, I guess, makes me lose my balance. So if a big bus or whatever drives past me, I wobble really bad, even with the cane. When I was unprepared for that, it was, I'd get frustrated. Every time something like that would happen to me, or I saw something big coming, I would cringe, and it was this horrible thing. Now I know. Spread your feet apart, bend your knees and yell out, put the cane in the center, and, bring it. And now it's, a challenge, but in a good way. So it makes something as silly as a walk kind of like an adventure. Sometimes when you have a disability, you're so vulnerable that you feel like a hobbit, on your way to Mordor every time you go to the corner store. I think, but if you approach it the right way, well, I don't know, because sometimes it makes me pretty miserable. It doesn't matter how I approach it. But again, I'm still at the beginning, and I've been in denial for a really long time. Everybody kept saying to me that I should be better, so act normal and work like you did before, normal, even if it's slower, just do what you did, and I couldn't, and that's hard. And then every time you make a mistake or whatever, it's like a reminder of what you're not anymore or what you're never going to be. So living your life and like you did before it's like you're rubbing your face in your own shit. I'm blessed because I'm married to somebody that has become disabled years ago. He lost the use of both of his hands. He's got this weird arthrosis thing happening. And he's a musician, so for him that was absolutely devastating. So I watch somebody in my life day to day go through all the stages and the phases, and so often when I'm at my lowest, I remember Glenn. I remember when Glenn went through this, and look at him now. And he went to college and studied career counseling, and so he was, I don't know, it was like he was training to deal with me. That synchronicity. He was in college at the tail end of his course when I became injured. And my injury threw everything into such a loop, he didn't even get to finish. I feel really bad about that, actually. Because it just, I don't know. It didn't just impact my life, you know what I mean? My whole family's been frozen in limbo because of what happened to me. And it's hit him hard, very hard. But anyway, he's been putting all of his knowledge into my transition. So when I'm having a meltdown or insecure or whatever, he's really good at talking me down. And we're making a lot of plans because that's I think the worst part of becoming disabled. You're already used to feeling like shit by the time you get the news that this is it and this is your new normal, right? So you got your coping skills, you know what ice to work, what stretches feel good. You learn to live with that. That part was okay. It's not okay, but that part I can cope or learn to cope. I think I just need some education on how to live like this. And I need to make some changes. For example, it's unsafe for me to take a walk in my neighborhood in my condition. I need to move. I need to move where it's not so populated because Torontonians are assholes, let me tell you, when you're disabled. So I need to get to the country. I need to figure out what I can do, what makes me feel good to do. So for example, the computer hurts me. Maybe I could do it for an hour, but then after that I need to step away. So I need to find what can I do where I don't need a computer. What's been giving me a lot of therapy? The garden's been giving me therapy, and I really like being around plants, okay? I studied horticulture in university. I even studied commercial crop greenhouse production in university. So maybe, I don't think I have the mental capacity at this point to do anything huge with it, but I could see myself in a nursery, just, I don't know, giving people advice on what tomato to pick for their yard or where to put their cabbage. I actually think I would enjoy that. And I could see myself walking with a cane around a nursery. I maybe can't lift and move stuff, but I could sell like a motherfucker. So, okay, I won't use motherfucker at work, but you know what I mean. It's about figuring out what you can do. Figuring out what you love, what makes you feel good, everything you can cope with. So far for me, the biggest stress has been money. I'm worried about my future. I'm worried about losing a job. And then if I lose a job, how am I going to find another job in the shape that I'm in? And even if I find a job in the shape that I'm in, how am I going to last at that job if I can't last at this job? You know what I mean? I'm having all these, where's my career going to go? I don't think I have a career anymore. Even if I could have a job, I think my career days... And I had big plans, man. Big fucking plans. So, it's your, for me, I think it's my new identity. That's what I'm struggling with. Because I was very well known, in my consulting stuff that I used to do. And I was a powerhouse at that. And now I don't have it in me anymore. My art career was just starting to blossom when I had my accident. And besides a table just for fun, I haven't painted since. So those two were joy ending in themselves. Losing those two outlets was devastating. The day job was a security blanket that's gone. And my only hope now is the system that's failed me already. So it's not comforting. I mean, it's shifting a little bit. And I think the system might be coming around in my case, maybe. So for me personally, I'm going to say that 80 to 90% of my stress and emotional right now is money and my career and my financial future and my stability and feeling like the security blanket of the system was broken and that I'm falling through the crack of that. Big panic. Absolute panic. Like half the time I can't catch a full breath panic. So I'm hoping that can get resolved quickly because it's not a... Instead of looking at a bleak future, redesign a bleak future. Fill the gaps. I can't paint, I can garden. You know, you gotta fill those gaps quickly as you can. And that's been my saving grace. When I really am ready to melt down and I can't take it anymore, I start ripping up cardboard for my compost. You know, just you do what you gotta do to get by in the moment. And the rest will come. So I'll keep sharing where I'm at. And hopefully you'll do better than me. Okay, thank you.